Hare Krishna, Namaste, Chapter 17, which is entitled as śraddhā tri-vidhā yoga, the three types of faith. Sloka 2, Part 2. Śrī-bhagavān uvāca, tri-vidhā bhavati śraddhā, dehināṁ svabhāva-jā, sāttvikī rājasī caiva, tāmasī ceti śṛṇu. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, according to the modes of nature acquired by the embodied soul, one's faith can be of three kinds: in goodness, in passion, or in ignorance. Now hear about this. In our previous session on this sloka, we learned what is ruchi and what is śraddhā. Ruchi is that which I get attracted to or desire to or like to have. Śraddhā is that where I have the confidence that this ruchi will be achieved through certain means, certain action. That is śraddhā. This śraddhā comes from the ruchi. What we need to learn now is, where does this ruchi come from? Ruchi gets its strength from the anadi kala vasanas, which is the past impressions that happen due to certain actions which has been carried for several lifetimes. Because of the vasanas, before we proceed, by now we should be familiar with these terms: ruchi, vasanas, śraddhā, also anadi kala, gunas, of course karmas, etc. So ruchi gets its strength from the anadi kala vasanas, which are the past impression that's been carried for several lifetimes, individual's lifetime. That ruchi is not shared because the action that's performed is specific to that particular living entity. Therefore, he gets a certain impression, and that impression carried and becomes as ruchi, desire. So, because of the vasanas, one gets ruchi. That ruchi then gives birth to śraddhā. Say, I have an impression to go in wrong path. I've been doing wrong things in my previous lives. Therefore, I get that impression of always heading towards wrong doing. Due to that wrong impression, I get similar ruchi to go in wrong direction, even in this life. To fulfill that wrong desire, I engage myself in the action with full faith, śraddhā, to get what I wanted by going in that wrong direction. So, first it is anadi kala vasana, the impression. Because of that, one gets ruchi based on those vasana, and because of ruchi, that leads one to certain śraddhā. Now another question arises: how or where these vasanas, ruchi and śraddhā are situated? Everything starts from manas, the mind. They are there. Whatever body we take in this world, we will carry the same indriyas, the antakarnas. Now I am a human with the senses. When I take another body, leaving this body, I will have the same set of senses that I have. So, the senses also travel with me when I move to another body. Not that I will get a fresh new set of senses. That means each one of us have been taking various birth, various bodies, without a trace of when it all started. So many births has gone so far, which means our vasanas have become stronger and stronger and deeply rooted in us. as we leave this body, it's not that we don't carry anything, as some famous statements which says that what have we brought with us when we born to take with us when we die. We certainly brought many things with us. Our papa punya karmas, vasanas, those are the impressions which are imprinted due to our papa and punya karmas actions. All the sushma indriyas, the subtle senses, they are also carried. Sabda, sparsha, rupa, rasa, gandha, those senses, not the eyes, nose, ears, etc. They are objects. But what is being carried is the sense to see, the sense to smell, the sense to touch, the sense to taste, the sense to hear. It is through the manas, these vasanas and the sushma indriyas are carried to the next destination, along with the atma, which has just departed from its current body. When it reaches the next body, then the senses get activated. Based on the vasanas, this person who was taken body will continue to exercise his ruchi in the same path. So, the vasanas, ruchi and śraddhā belongs to manas, mind. The manas is the interface between the atma and the body. It is closely related to both of them. The body is nothing but made of prakriti. It is a byproduct of mula prakriti. The prakriti always has three gunas, sattva, rajas and tamas, which is never separated from the prakriti. Since the body is nothing but the byproduct of that mula prakriti, the body also contains sattva, rajas and tamas, which will never get separated from it. So, the atma along with vasanas, indriyas, manas and its karma travels to another body and get encaged into that particular body. And that body is of three modes, sattva, rajas and tamas. Now the three modes is not only present in the body, it is also present in the manas. As soon as the atma get encaged into a particular body, the three modes that present in the body will start influencing the atma. We should know by now that atma in its original state never get influenced by the three modes. Only when it comes in contact, only when it comes in association with the prakriti, with the body, along with the manas, it gets bombarded by the three modes present in the body. The body is full of sattva, rajas and tamas. The manas, mind, is full of sattva, rajas and tamas. The indriyas are also full of sattva, rajas and tamas. Within this, the atma, who is actually free from sattva, rajas and tamas, lives in this condition. So what else can we expect other than atma being fully get influenced by the three modes, sattva, rajas and tamas? One may ask a question, well, I am just 40 years old, 50 years old, whatever it is. How can the three modes impact me? By now we should know the answer. We covered this in detail in 14th chapter when we learnt about the three modes in detail, elaborately. In short, it is not one life. I have been living for a long time which cannot be traced back, in different bodies or sometimes without bodies too. When we say long time, it is not 50 lifetime or 100 lifetime. thousands and thousands and thousands of lifetime we have gone through being born in certain types of bodies. Therefore, the three modes easily influences the Atma. Here, something interesting to be noted in this sloka. Krishna says, dehināṁ svabhāva-jā. The embodied beings are endowed with three types of faith. Krishna, instead of saying that it is deha svabhāva, nature of the body, he says dehināṁ, it is the nature of the Atma. How can we understand this? If we drop a log of wood in a salty water for a long time, the log of wood inherits the salty nature. Likewise, since the Atma is associated with the Prakriti in the form of body for long time, many lifetime, the Atma has inherited the nature of the body. Therefore, Krishna says dehināṁ instead of deha. But the fact is, it belongs to deha, the body. Based on the ruchi, śraddhā varies. If the ruchi is sāttvika ruchi, the śraddhā will be sāttvika śraddhā. If the ruchi is rājasa, the śraddhā will be rājasa śraddhā. If the ruchi is tāmasā, then the śraddhā will be also tāmasā śraddhā. So, what needs to be addressed here is the ruchi. Then, the śraddhā can follow the ruchi. Because we already saw that yatra ruchihi tatra śraddhā jhāyate. Our śraddhā is based on our ruchi. Based on the ruchi, respective śraddhā will be born. Sometimes we see some people doesn't have śraddhā, faith in what they do. That's because there's no ruchi. If one doesn't have interest or desire, one will not get the śraddhā. We can note this especially people who are doing things wrongly. When we give some service to someone, they do things with mistakes. That's because they don't have ruchi to do it. Because they don't have ruchi, their śraddhā will not be there to perform that action. We also hear people saying that I want to also chant, but I'm unable to chant. I've been planning to come to temple on Sundays, but I couldn't make it. I want to learn Bhagavad Gita. I want to hear to Bhagavad Gita every day, but I am unable to do it. I am so busy with so many things. For all this, the reason is simple. There is no sincere ruchi. Since there is no ruchi, one will not get the śraddhā to chant or to go to temple or to hear to Bhagavad Gita. This we can very easily see in children. When we say children to do something, they show no sign of action. That implies that they don't have ruchi to do that. Since there is no ruchi, there is no śraddhā. So, the Atma itself can be classified as sāttvikā jīvātma if he has sāttvika śraddhā, rājasa jīvātma if he has rājasa śraddhā, or tāmasā jīvātma if he has tāmasā śraddhā. Whereas the Atma in its original state is not classified as Sattvika Atma, Rajasa Atma or Tamasa Atma. But we classify them as Sattvika Jivatma, Rajasa Jivatma, Tamasa Jivatma based on their śraddhā that they got from their ruchi which they received from their vasana. And that vasana comes from anādi kala, time immemorial. In other words, because of anādi kala vasanas, we get certain ruchi. With that ruchi, a śraddhā is born. With that śraddhā, I perform some action. That action gives me a reaction, karma. That karma gives me another body. When I get another body, I carry the vasanas, manas, and then the indriyas. Over there, because of the influence of the vasana, I get a ruchi. That ruchi gives me a śraddhā, where I perform certain action and get a reaction. We can see that the cycle, vicious cycle, goes on and on and on. So the question comes, can we ever get out of this cycle? It appears that we are stuck in this cycle of vasana, ruchi, śraddhā. Answer in short, yes, we can get out of it. The details, how, we will learn in our next session. Namaste. Hare Krishna.